Hey guys, Matt aka Martin here, and welcome to another episode of Make a Track Monday. You know the drill by now. This round's samples have been provided by Orches. I'll link his stuff down in the description. And as always, if you want to join in on these challenges yourself and get the samples, all you need to do is head over to beatcollective.net and sign up to the newsletter. Alrighty, so without any further ado, let's jump right in. Okay, so I've got a new Ableton Live session open up here, as always, with the samples already preloaded in. I really like the samples for this round. I think they're pretty cool. This first one, I won't play all of it, but it's like this kind of acoustic guitar riff that I'll just play for you. It's kind of cool. Got some nice little chords in there I reckon we can use. So there's kind of this part, and it jumps around some nice little chords, and then it's got these just kind of one hits near the end, like strums. And this last one I think is going to be really nice. Use that somewhere, which would be really cool. And there's this also percussion-like thing with this bit of pan flute laid over the top of it, which is pretty cool. I think that's really cool. I think we're going to be able to do a fair bit with this. So yeah, I'm going to try and make something, and I'll be back with you guys when I've got something. Alright, so I've got a bit of a something here. I'll just play it to you and then I'll tell you about it. I think it's pretty cool. So I basically took some of the chords from the guitar sample and chopped them up, changed the chord progression around a little bit, and also glitched it out a little bit, so you can probably hear like this if I turn off the side chain. Like there and there. Just glitching out the guitar a little bit, which I think sounds pretty cool. I took the percussion-y parts of the second sample to make it a loop like this, which works really nicely with everything else, and also added in some chords to match the chord progression here. Just had to figure out what that was by ear. And just a basic beat here. I also have these in here for when I want them. Sounds pretty nice. So I'm gonna start adding on some more stuff, probably a bass line and a lead line or something like that. And then I will be back when I've got something worth sharing. Okay, so I've added a bass line and a bit of a pan flute melody that I made using a bit of the pan flute here in the second sample, just this little part here. And I turned it into something that sounds like this. Just basically looped that little bit, added some overdrive, some reverb, some compression, and I think it sounds pretty cool. And then a bass line that sounds like this. Just using operator and some basic kind of processing here, and all together it sounds like this. So basically, I've just kind of got two halves here. This would be like the ending half of the melody, I suppose, when it goes into something else. And this is the part that loops this first part here. So what I'm going to do is now try and get a bit of an arrangement started, and then we'll add in some other things as we go along to see what it needs. And I will be back with you when I've got something to share. Alright, so I've started on a bit of an arrangement here. I think I've kind of foregone this bass pluck sound and replaced it with a bit of an 808 bass. I think it sounds a little bit better. I won't play all I've got for the moment, but basically it just starts with the guitar here. I'll just play the first little bit. I changed the end of the guitar so it kind of does a pitch bend down as well. You hear that? And so the 808 bass comes in. Then I got the chords build up basically, and then the hits and everything build up, and then the melody comes in around here. And then it does the whole melody thing, and then I'm going to go into a bit of a break here, I am reckoning. So I'm going to do some more mucking around, and then I'll be back with you guys. Okay, so I've got a little bit more here. I kind of started playing around with something like a B section, basically, and I'll probably go into this and then go back into the A section for a little bit after that, and then it'll be... that'll be done. That'll be the form of the track. But so I'll play you what I've done for the break and then go into this crazy little kind of second drop that I've got going on. I'll play you this. So the Atmos is just like operator, really basic kind of patch with a bunch of reverb and phaser and stuff. Then I brought the pluck back in. That's pretty crazy. That's kind of the gist of it. It's just this big kind of crazy mess. I think it's pretty cool. But yeah, it works nicely. It flows okay. And then it'll somehow have to go back to this other thing. But what I'm going to do is try and fill out this a little bit more. And then I'll be back with you when I think I've kind of finished most of this kind of second drop section. Okay, so I've done a little bit more. I've added in the melody to... this second drop. Sounds kind of like this when it comes in. So I've dropped out the kind of higher pluck part. And I just build it, and then the last part of it goes up an octave, the melody that is. And then it has this little stabby kind of hit thing at the end. Which I think is kind of cool. And then it goes back into the guitar and all that. Which plays through. I might add some more stuff in here. And then basically, I reckon it's just gonna fade out from here, maybe. I mean, it almost kind of sounds like two different tracks, but I think it's actually kind of okay. I think it's cool. I like both of them, and I think they work well together. So yeah, I'm just going to continue to play around with this little end part and then see if there's anything else I want to do after that, and I'll be back. So I've kind of got a bit of an ending here, but I'm you know, for the purposes of this Beat Collective submission, I think that it's enough, but who knows, I might revisit it at a later point. That's the beauty of doing these challenges every fortnight. You just come up with a bunch of tracks that you don't have to release just yet. You don't have to do anything with just yet. You can just keep them in your catalog and then go and do things with them later on if something arises, or if you just want to go back and revisit something and make it a little bit more special and then maybe release it later on down the track. But so what I'm going to do is just play you the end part, and yeah, that'll be it. It's basically just a copy paste, but it sounds nice. So that's that. And what I'm going to do now is mix it and then master it. And I'll be back with you somewhere in between those processes and obviously after that process as well. Okay, so I've done a bit of a basic mix here. I think it sounds pretty good. I'll just play you this part. Just turning up that little thing there a little bit. Try this again. There we go. I think that sounds okay. Now, not really much to talk about, just some parallel compression on the drums, which is pretty cool. That sounds nice. This is the drums by themselves. This is without all the processing. And this is with. Obviously it's a little bit louder, but you can kind of pick out the subtle differences as well. And synths, compression, saturation, EQ, blah, blah, blah. Bass, just some that because it's literally just the 808 bass. And effects, just that because why not? Yeah, there's not much really else going on there. It's pretty basic. Like I said, don't need to put a huge amount of time into it for this particular purpose of what this track serves. So now I'm just going to give it a quick little master and then that will be it. Cool, so I bounced down the mix down, dragged it into my mastering template and have done a quick little master of the beast. And I'll just play you a little snippet of it and go through what I've got. Sounds pretty good. Just got an auto filter here, cutting out the low end, catch peaks, compression, mono lows after that, an EQ8, and then some more multiband dynamics here. So this is just catching everything, and this is just doing the high end, which is basically the hi-hats and the ride cymbal. Another EQ here to boost the mids in the mids, because I like to do that, as you know. Another catch peaks, and then my trusty limiter here. And as far as I'm concerned, that's all that's necessary for this track, for this particular submission to Beat Collective's round 25 of their fortnightly challenge. I've had a lot of fun with this one. Now I'll just bounce it out and then that will be that. That's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know I had a bunch of fun making this track, and there are some things about it that I might want to revisit in the future, so keep an ear out and you might hear it out and about. As always, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already, and if you really enjoy my content, consider heading over to my Patreon and supporting me on there. Thanks so much for watching. My name is Mark Hill, and I'll see you in the next video.